Realtor. Thank you for watching, guys. Please see where you guys are coming from, and I appreciate you. By the way, if you find value in what I'm sharing during these weekly videos, and every week I've got new topics and Austin real estate news. So what is the step-by-step process to selling a home? By the way, be sure to stay to the end because you do not want to miss it. Your agent needs to be very thorough. Obviously, if you're local, I hope that I'm your agent, but if you have an agent, you need to make sure that they're doing their due diligence. And, this should be a given, but I'm amazed, how many times even agents may not even know what a Fannie Mae 1004 report is or how to use it, so your agent needs to know your area and what's happening in your neighborhood. The Fannie Mae report that I mentioned, they should run this and discuss it with you because it lets you know what percent over list all the comps are closing at. And I've got a little clip here for you just so you can see what this report looks like. And obviously, if you'll look over on the left, it'll tell you about the prior 7 to 12 months, the last 4 to 6 months. But then what I've highlighted over there for you is at the very bottom, see what it's selling for over the amount. And so if you have a home selling for $400,000, you're going to go in and multiply that price times the 108 point whatever percent to tell you how much you're actually going to make on your house if it goes by the normal numbers, and that's what the averages are. So it helps when you're having a real picture of what your net takeaway. Maybe you are moving and you are needing that money to put down on a new home. So that's very important for them to have that information for you. And it also helps with setting the fair market price. Obviously, they need to do a thorough comparative market analysis, and this is known as the CMA. This, first of all, it shows you the actives, which doesn't tell you anything really about the market condition or anything. It basically just tells you how aggressive that listing agent or the owner is, because that is only what's active and that doesn't show you what it's closing for. So next, your CMA report will show you your pendings. And you'll want to take special note on this one of how long they're on the market before going pending. This will give you average days on market at that specific price point, and that'll help you determine, how quickly it's going to move. When you're overpricing, maybe it sat there for 2 weeks in an Austin market. That's unheard of, so either it's overpriced or something that people are not liking. So then you dig in further and your agent will show you the pictures of the comps, and so you can get an idea. So it's very important that you're going through this step by step. And then you'll get to, the actual solds. And this is the real data an appraiser is going to take into consideration. Now, a real comp needs to be within 10% plus or minus of your square footage and within 3 years of the build date to start with. And then there's a million other details and criteria and manual adjustments that will be made based on upgrades. Maybe you have wood floors and, upgraded cabinetry and granite, and maybe you're coming up against a comp that has carpet or vice versa, So those manual adjustments will help you determine what exactly you need to price your home at. So anyways, okay, I see a couple questions over here. Hello, Al. Hi, Emmanuel. Hi, Brad. Thanks for watching, you guys. Hey, if you have questions as I go along, make sure you jump in there and let me know because I love answering your questions and being of value to you. Okay, so moving on. So, your agent also needs to pull the tax records and go over the data. This is going to be your estimated taxes that they're going to load into your net sheet, telling you how much you're going to get to take away. You also want to know if you're in a mud district or other documentation, that will be required. So now it starts getting fun. So as a homeowner, the next step, obviously, you're going to give this amazing grand tour. You want to be sure to show your agent all the things you love about your home, all the ins and outs and advantages, so your agent can highlight and target toward the right buyer group. Sometimes you target towards a neighborhood, or you target toward a price range. For instance, a country club area, I just executed a contract yesterday, and it speaks more in this specific area towards retirees or people who like a more quiet neighborhood. On the other hand, you have other neighborhoods that have tons of kids amenities and the fireworks going off all night last night, So you want to be sure that your agent knows these things and can design the listing description appropriately. You do not want to miss that target. And so then you'll sit down and discuss the numbers and be sure to let them talk about what the brokerage can do for you. And this would just simply be, maybe the brokerage has a listing concierge and runs your listing on YouTube, or different, things that they offer. And more importantly, probably, what specific certifications does your agent have? Like for instance, mine is GRI, which stands for Graduate Realtor Institute, and that just simply means I've done an extra 120 hours of study and passed all the exams. And then I have the SRS, which is Seller Representative Specialist, and then probably my favorite is the RENE, and this stands for Real Estate Negotiations Expert. And so, just like with a doctor, with those initials after their name, they really mean something. You wouldn't want to go to orthopedist if you were having heart problems, right? So back on the continuing education, the RENE is actually the first and only certification recognized by the National Association of Realtors. And if you want to know more about the different certifications that the agents have, I'll put the links below the video so you can check that out, what they mean and what they stand for, and another thing to consider is what advantages does your agent bring to the table? Do they utilize social media a lot? Be sure to check them out. Do they have lots of reviews or happy clients on Google? Like for myself, I didn't start off thinking I'd have a weekly show with thousands of followers and numerous networks, but it's ended up being a really large part of my business. So anyways, after you've ensured that you have the right agent, you want to come up with the right price. And on that note, you can watch another video that I have that's how to price your home, and I will link that in the notes as well, so if you want to check that out. Okay, so you want to price your home to get the most eyeballs, right? This is where if you only have 20% of the buyers, you're likely not going to have a bidding war. And if you're a seller, you want that. So I'm going to show you a little clip that will kind of explain this a little bit more. Check this out. Okay, so looking at the top of the pyramid, see if your asking price is right, or I'm sorry, if it's 15% over market, move across that pyramid and see how you're only appealing to 20% of your buyers. If you're 10% over market value, only 30% of your buyers, oh my gosh. And check that out. If you're only over 5% over market value, you only have 50% of your buyers. So that goes to show you how important it is to price it correctly, because we got lots of eyeballs on it if you're priced fair market. And that doesn't even indicate what you're going to close at, because once you price it fairly, you have everybody looking at it, and then they can tell you how much they're willing to pay for your home. How do you compare with the other comps? Okay, so now you'll want to determine what time frame to complete some of the preparatory steps. I'll talk about some of those later in the video. But for instance, let's make sure you know when you want to list. Statistically, it says that listing on Thursday is the best and you will get the highest price for your home. But I just listed a home on Saturday afternoon and I'm still taking offers. We're 35,000 over and still have offers coming in. So it's not a deal breaker. You just want to plan the best day to list it, which would be Thursday, and then how it works in with your schedule, obviously. Okay, so for a complete listing process that is way more in depth than I'm going to go in tonight, run over in the comments, you guys, and write seller's process in the comments, and I'll be happy to send that over to you. So that's going to go through more of the nuts and bolts of the actual internal contract and deadlines and dates and stuff like that. Okay, so now you're going to determine with your agent your communication preferences and expectations. And this is so important, because just this last weekend here, I have 2 homes that I'm negotiating for my sellers, and I need to know if you're going to be available to answer by text or phone, or do you want me to bother you when you have questions coming in about your home? So important, as this is a partnership. This is to achieve your goal of selling it for, the highest and best. So it's very important that you discuss your communication and, because there's so many deadlines and contracts and things that could really cost you thousands of dollars if you miss that. So next, we're going to sign a listing agreement. And the listing agreement is going to cover lots of stuff, but the main thing that you're going to pay attention to is commission. How much are you paying your listing commission and the amount you're going to be paying for the buyer's agent? Because I'm sure you're aware that as a listing, you pay for both. You'll pay your listing agent, but out of that money, the listing agent is going to give 2.5%, 3%, whatever, to a buying agent, so they'll bring buyers to you. So that's really important to make sure that you're aware of all of the percentages. Some discount brokerages are offering less to agents, and the thing is if you had 2 jobs lined up side by side and one was paying more, as an agent, where do you go? You go to the one that's going to pay you more or less. So if you want to get the most agents looking at your home, pay the price that is standard, which is a 3% for your buyer's agents. So next, you're going to go live. And well, actually, let me just skip back just a minute, because also with that agreement, you're going to sign IABS, which is about the brokerage services. And this is Texas law. So it outlines fiduciary duties owed to you as a client. This is going to be the agent putting your interests first. And also in that listing agreement, it's going to talk about when you're going to go live and schedule, the professional photography and all that kind of stuff. So once you've gone through all the listing and everything, you've agreed on everything, next you're going to go ahead and jump in gear. Okay, so you're going to schedule that photography and the videography, and your agent is going to prepare a ton of marketing materials, obviously starting with a very captivating description, one that targets your desired buyer. And they'll probably make a single property website, or they should make a property book or should. And that would be complete with seller's disclosures, a survey, floor plan, neighborhood and local data, so they'll create flyers and they'll blast that out on social media. And as well, they'll probably email it to all the internal brokerage. This is all the agents that you're allowed to send new listings to even before it's live on the MLS. Okay, so then they install the lockbox and a coming soon yard sign. And this is to create excitement and anticipation, because guess what? Your neighbor has been looking for the opportunity to bring their parents close to them, or maybe they have little children and they would love to have their mom there to babysit, or maybe they want their children living closer, or what have you. So your neighbors will want to know when your home is becoming active. So then your agent is going to upload all the data to MLS, and this will include hundreds of questions and options that the agent really needs to accurately describe your home. This again includes everything from seller's disclosures, any known defects with the home, what's included with the home. Do they get a water softener or security system? Is it owned or leased? Or, do you have cameras? Even down to the direction that your home faces. So lots of details. So then finally, you're ready to go live on MLS. And hopefully your agent has arranged the times for showings. Maybe they use a service to keep record of anyone entering your home. And definitely very important for you is that they acquire feedback for you after the viewings. It's just really important for you to be able to know how to answer questions or even tweak the listing after day one in feedback. Okay. During this time, let me just tell you guys, instead of constantly bouncing in and out of your house, I would probably recommend find a friend or a family member where you could go stay for the weekend, or at least a couple complete days, because in Austin, your house, if it is marketed properly, it's going to be blowing up. There's going to be agents lined up. So make sure that you take some stress off, get out of the way, and aren't just trying to avoid that traffic, So, and, it also keeps you from having to re-clean your house, after you get up and shower, and who wants to re-clean a bathroom, So now, after you've done all your showings, now we're going to start receiving offers, right? I personally like to use a comparison form, because if your home is listed properly, you'll likely get multiple offers and you want to select the right one. Maybe it comes down to specific detail that's more important to you. Like my sellers this weekend, they're like, okay, is that offer from an investor or is it a family? Because it matters to them. They raise their children there. So whatever matters to you, we want to be able to present that information. So as an agent for listings, I want to give you break down each piece of information that may be important for you. In negotiations, that's the exciting part for me. I mean, it's really fun. Like right now, I've got 6 different offers on one listing, and we're going back and forth. And it's really fun. It can be stressful. That's not something you deal with, but you just want the end result to be the offer that's just right for you. So anyways, so some of the criteria that I'll also, really point out for you to look for is, what dates are you willing to move out? And you don't want stress. If you're going to be moving out of town and you're trying to buy a home after you've sold yours here, you don't want to be homeless. You want to know that you can have a lease back, or those kinds of things. You want to look out for what type of financing that's likely to go through without a hitch, without being extended. Some of the slower types of financing obviously is FHA, it's government backed, and VA loans. There's just so many stipulations with it. So knowing what the financing is really important. And oh, by the way, another big one to look out for is going to be your appraisal addendum. And there's 3 different options that someone that can come in and they can sign a waiver, but there's 3 options. So if you want to know more about that, click on the video that I did on that topic, and I'll link that also. Okay. Then, you'll want to look at how long the option period is. And that's really important because if you're listing a home, you don't want to take this home off the market while you're saying pending or under contract, active under contract, while they sit and, pick it apart and then decide on day 5 that, I don't want to space that direction. So having a shorter option period is going to be very important for you so you don't lose those days on the market. Okay. And then, down to negotiating who pays for your title policy. This is like 1% of your list price. So that could be a big chunk, So there's a lot of different criteria other than just the highest price. You want it to be the highest and best offer. And then, voila, once you've selected that, you're under contract and the title company is going to receive the earnest money and option money. There's a simple app that you can send that over, or that they'll send that over. And so it's a real simple process. They hold on to that. And then you really just prepare for the inspection. This is making sure that nothing's blocking the space in the garage to the attic doors or outlets or things like that. And make sure that you've filled out that seller's disclosure, if you haven't already, because that's super important to have that up front. Then your title reviews, and you'll have your objection deadlines, your HOA documents, they will be delivered to title, because once they're actually delivered to title, the buyer has 3, 4, 5 days that they can opt out due to those restrictions and bylaws, So once you're past that, then you kind of have a quiet period and you wait for the underwriting, unless it's a cash deal. But